I don't care that undocumented immigrants are associated with lower violent crime rates and have a lower violent crime rate than the natural-born U.S. citizen population. The fact that they're here because they broke the rules to get here means that those violent crimes should have never happened. Let's think through what you're saying here. They broke the rules so that they could, what, get here and commit a crime? By that logic, no violent crimes should ever happen. I don't want those violent crimes to happen as perpetrated by undocumented immigrants or Americans or anyone else. That's why I'm in favor of making prison about rehabilitation instead of punishment, because that lowers the odds that a person who leaves prison gets back into prison. That's why I'm in favor of bringing people and communities out of poverty, because statistically, that means a lower violent crime rate. That's why I'm in favor of funding educations and social programs, so people have an outlet for their energy instead of committing violent crimes. That's why I'm in favor of de-escalation and community-based policing tactics instead of escalation and arrest-based policing tactics, because that lowers violent crime rates. But no, we can't do anything to prevent crime. We just have to increase police to oppress people harder so that they're too afraid to commit violent crime. And further, this is a misunderstanding of statistics. If I have the US citizen population and they have, I'm making up numbers, but a violent crime rate of 10 violent crimes per 100,000 people, and I have a population of undocumented immigrants who have a violent crime rate of maybe 5. When I combine them, the combined population then has a violent crime rate lower than the one that you started with in the US citizen one. Which means if you're walking down the street and you see a single person, assuming they're selected completely at random, that person is less likely to be a violent criminal when undocumented citizens are here. America is a statistically safer country. This is a common trend among conservatives because statistics are almost never on their sides. So they have to take the not representative case, undocumented immigrants committing violent crimes, and say that it represents everything. See, they're murderers. They murdered Lake and Riley. You look at trans people who get physical procedures as a part of gender-affirming care and then go on to regret it as if that's the representative case, where the regret rate of physical procedures in gender-affirming care is like less than 1%. Whereas the regret rate for all physical medical procedures is like 14%. Whenever there's a trans mass shooter, you say, look, they're violent, they're sick in the head, even though it's way, way, way more likely that a mass shooter selected at random is a cis white right-wing man. You focus in on the case of someone abusing welfare as if that's representative of the entire population of people receiving welfare. And you overlook the 20 million people who can now have homes because of welfare. None of these are the representative case in those situations, right? I need you to think about the bigger picture, about the situation as a whole, not just the one case that happens that you don't like.